spring pines, rocky coasts, and folks who are mighty, mighty fine and let them in. With those of scouting teams as we follow on to greater fame. Rest land of golden dreams, hiking trails of crystal mountain streams. Let's just scout, spirit bold and true. Now let us stand and take our road anew. On my honor, I will do my best to be bound to see that scouting spirit blesses everyone. No matter where they be, as we go on forgotten our country. Our country.
Good morning, Big
Big
Springs Camp. It's another
Another
beautiful day in the Poconos. Yeah. Good morning, Big Springs Camp. The specific camp and not the reservation. Calling him out on that. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Big Springs Life podcast. I hope you're all excited for this. It's a 2 for a week if you haven't checked it out. Saturday, we dropped the Christmas in July special. That's a shorter one. It's only about 30 minutes long. So, get an insight into the holiday season for the camp staff. But without any further ado, we've got some very special guests for us this week. So, going to do some introductions, some familiar faces, some returning people, and 2 new guests for us. So, why not introduce yourself when I call on you and, who you are, what you do at camp, so on and so forth. So first up, we have Owen Kulp.
Hey there, everybody. Name's Owen. I'm the second health officer at Resica Falls. This is actually my 5th year on camp staff, so that's always fun.
What do you do in this realm of Zoom and virtual camp?
For those of you who are listening might know me as the emergency preparedness counselor and the public health counselor. It's all a lot of fun, a lot of discussion, great scenarios.
Yeah, excellent. And I just realized this is a very civics heavy episode because we have the most recent before this summer. If the summer would have been physical, civics director Anthony Glass.
So hello everyone. Thank you, Andy, for having me. As you said, my name is Anthony Glass. Last summer, I was the civics director at Resica Falls. We were there in person. This summer, if we were in person, I was supposed to be office manager. But currently, in our realm of Zoom, I teach cooking and law merit badge. In the past, I've been the OA coordinator for 2 summers, and I've been general staff. So I've kind of worked all over camp anywhere that needed me.
Excellent. And then back for a second appearance from our first episode of the season, and the civics director before Anthony Glass and the one following myself. Sorry, Owen, you're the odd man out here. Is Nick Koft.
Hi again. It's me, your boy, Nick Koft. So if you remember, this is my 7th summer at Resica working for the camp. If we had been in person, I would have been a commissioner this summer, and I was commissioner last summer as well, before that, and civics director, as Andy mentioned. For this summer, I am the merit badge counselor for geology, American heritage, and environmental science.
Yeah. Then yours truly, Andy Connell, web podcast host extraordinaire and cooker of all things kettle corn and corn dogs in this realm of virtual camp. It's quite fun. Fun fact, I actually don't like corn dogs very much. But anyway.
How many summers have you worked here, Andy?
Oh, this is 9. If I come back next summer, I get a fancy plaque.
Yeah, you do.
That's a fun thing campers don't know about. We'll have to talk. That'll be in the Till We Meet Again episode or season finale. Anyway, so today's topic is staff life. We've talked about our program side of things, like what the staff does in an average day for work. We've talked about program. We've talked about theme. We've talked about a lot of things. So now it's time. What is it like to be a member of Resica Falls camp staff, Big Springs camp staff?
What a loaded question that is.
I know it's a very loaded question, but we can break it down. Like, what do we do when we're not working? Is kind of like the vibe I'm getting at with this episode. So, for starters, we gotta lay some context. Who wants to talk about like the makeup of the staff? Like, how many are there? What is the age range? What kind of things go through these people's heads? Like,
I can do that. So usually our staff is somewhere in the range of 80 to 110 staff members, depending on how many campers we're going to have that season. Obviously, the more campers we have, the more staff we're going to need. Typically, they fall in the age group of 15 to 18, usually. So it's a pretty wide age group. The youngest we hire is 14, and there are CITs. And then we've got staff who have well into their adult lives. I mean, Chris, Jerry, they're all getting up there in ages. I mean, and Andy, you're 22 now. I'm
Yeah.
21. We've got a number of staff that have entered into their adult years as well, but predominantly later teenagers.
Yeah. Anthony or Owen, do either you want to talk about like what's like the average mentality of a staff member? Like what's their
I'll take
viewpoint?
that one. So really for a lot of these staff members, especially the younger ones, they're looking to come in and they're looking to serve. They're looking to kind of find out what's it like being in this place that we've been to for the past maybe 2-3 years for a week. What's it like to be there for an entire summer? So a lot of them are really excited. They're really gung-ho to come and experience camp life for the first time. But as you get older, as you move on through the ranks, I know especially for me and for the other members of senior staff on the on camp staff, it's really about mentoring, looking out for a lot of the people who have just started out and really trying to bring them up and make sure they have the best experience they can. But for all of us together, all of us really have a drive to serve and serve the campers that come through our gates every week. So definitely a determination to serve would be how I would consider the mentality of our staff.
Yeah. Owen, don't want to leave you behind. Do you have anything you want to add about that?
Well, I think really it comes down to not just, especially if you're a CIT and have a larger CIT class, it's not just finding your friends within that, but it's also finding your group throughout the entire staff where you can be part of a group of kids that are around your age all the way up to like 18, 19, just the mentoring and sort of close-knit groups that you create can be far and, not far and few between, but, far and wide.
Yeah, certainly. So, kind of moving on from that, you got a bit good context of what we're working with here. Kind of want to talk about the staff life. What's it like to live on staff? And for the bulk of it, like we've already kind of addressed a lot about what it's like to be living as staff on the clock when we're working in previous episodes. So today's kind of the focus is off the clock, what we're doing when we're not teaching, not running program. And the bulk of this takes place in the, anyone got a good adjective to describe the staff area? How about everyone provides one?
Tent city.
That's not an adjective.
Tent city.
Tumultuous?
Interesting.
Interesting. Ooh, I think interesting's the best one. It's worth noting that out of the four of us, only two of us actually live in the staff area. And wait, Owen, would you be living in Bear this summer if you were?
That is a good question, and that was an answer I never got.
Okay, so potentially only one of us would have been living in the staff area, but we all have experience living in the staff area.
Oh, yeah.
The interesting land that is the staff. And if you've been to camp and you're like, staff area, where's that? It's where we march out from for colors, and it's that area of tents behind the health lodge, and that line of trees on the red trail. It's an interesting place.
I figured out my adjective for you, Andy.
What's your adjective?
Chaos incarnate.
All right, that's fair. So what's the basic setup of the staff area, like before the staff kind of comes in and makes it their own? What are they working with? What's the blank canvas of the staff area? Owen?
Well, I would more describe it as just a grid of wooden frames. Generally, they're basically identical except for save a few of them that might be in different areas. But if you were to look at it, it would look basically like a giant box, and basically you have free range of how to sort of set it up. Obviously you can't move the frames, but you can set up little communities of tarps and such in order to sort of make it more like a home.
Yeah. Excellent. Also, Owen, we're all adults here. You don't have to unless it's background noise, you don't have to keep yourself muted. We can just, it's conversation. We're having fun. We're having a blast.
All right.
Anthony?
So I think definitely kind of going off of what Owen said, when you kind of show up at the beginning of the summer, the staff fair is really just a bunch of rows of just some canvas and some wood. But really, once you're in there for like a week and a half, people start to set up different communities, as Owen said, with some tarps, just to basically bring tents together and bring people together. And really, people have free reign for how they do what they want with their tents. A lot of people put like Christmas lights up and stuff. Anything really to make it a lot more homey and make it feel like you're home away from home for 3 months out of the year.
Yeah.
And a lot of especially going on with making the tent your own, at the start of the summer, you're the one who actually puts the canvas on your tent. We have the A team that comes and starts setting up camp before everyone shows up, but when the staff show up, they set up their own tent, and it's really their own tent.
Yeah.
They're the ones who put the effort into making it what it is.
Yeah. So for the most part, for the average, for each paid staff member gets a bed with a mattress, and they get the outlet, so there's power running to the tent. And the canvas, it's the same canvas we use for all of our tents at Resca Falls. The only difference is there's that frame that stretches it out to the max. So yeah, there's a lot of tips and tricks that we've learned throughout our time there. As mentioned, Christmas lights. What's the advantage of the Christmas lights?
So I'll take that one, I guess. For the advantage of Christmas lights, they're really kind of, at least for me, they're really cheap. They're really easy to put up, and they don't take up a lot of room. The tents, as much as we kind of make them our own, they really aren't the biggest. So anything that really can save space for you is pretty much one of your go-to items. And definitely Christmas lights, you string them up around the frame of your tent, and it really just makes sure you always have light whenever you need it.
Yeah, they're very useful. And string lights can be Christmas lights. It can be rope lights. It's just anything that kind of just wraps around to save space. I've seen another good adaptation, indoor-outdoor rugs for the floor. Prevents you from dropping things through the slats. It's also a lot nicer to step on carpet than it is wood. You just have to make sure your tent is nice and waterproofed. Otherwise, wet carpet is not fun.
Yeah, when I still lived in the tent, I would always, invest in a floor rug before I came in, just because it's the most frustrating thing when you drop something between those slats and you have to get a whole crew of like 10 people to come lift up a side of your platform.
Yeah.
Because those platforms are heavy,
Oh, yeah.
especially with the canvas
For
on
sure.
them.
Are there any adaptations you have seen or you've used that you really like? Kind of other things, just kind of showing off what it's like to sleep in these tents. I mean, box fans are a must.
Yeah, when I lived in the tent, what I would do is I would take the old metal poles from my home tent, and then suspend a silver tarp above my tent so that it reflected the heat off.
Oh, that's
because sitting in the sun all day, those tents get hot.
Yeah, I hadn't considered. I'd considered the silver side up, not the dark side, but I hadn't considered the space in between.
Yeah, it keeps the air around it as a whole cool.
Ooh, that's some tech. We're showing the deep tech. All right, it's pretty good about tents, but it's not just tents. Anyone's looked inside has probably seen a building in there. Does someone want to talk about the illustrious staff wash house?
Oh dear.
Oh boy.
It's
Yeah, I'll
definitely
take that one.
interesting.
So the staff shower house is broken up into 3 separate areas. There is a bathroom section with toilets. There is a shower section with 6 individual shower stalls, and then there is a laundry room with 2 washers and 3 dryers, 3 or 4 dryers, if I'm remembering correctly. Really, the most interesting is definitely the laundry room, because there will be people who will wait up till like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning just to do their laundry. So don't have to worry about someone coming in, moving it, stuff like that. So definitely, it's an interesting place to say the least.
Yep, and we have a rotation going, so staff gets to clean it. Most end up cleaning it on their lunch break. Some areas make an event out of it and have quite a blast doing it. Others are it's a bit more melancholy when it's their turn to clean. But
yeah, a lot of the areas, I mean, at the end of the day, no, it's not a fun job cleaning a wash house, but doing the job is really what the area makes of it, because we do clean the air or the whole staff area by area. So one day ecology is responsible for cleaning the staff area, next day sports, and so forth. And it's really what you make of it is what you get out of it. Because if you have somebody who, goes absolutely buck wild spraying down the showers, that's a lot more fun than just morosely washing them down.
Unless those people also spray down the toilet section and don't squeegee it.
That's a good point.
That's how you get wet shorts. Not fun.
Oh yeah.
That was my least favorite part of the staff shower house, is how often you ended up with wet shorts when you had to use the bathroom.
Yeah. Best part about moving to admin is the ability to use the Unami bathrooms.
Oh, so good.
Same thing with Bear.
Yeah. But what area was it? I mean, I have my suspicion that I know what area it was, but that did that would tape poetry up, or like short stories into the stalls.
That's Jiffy.
That
was handicraft.
That was handicraft. Yeah, that was my suspicion.
Oh yeah, Jiffy and handicraft.
Handicraft. If things happen at camp that are weird, odds are it's handicraft.
Or Scoutcraft. One of the crafts.
One's, to equate it to the Dungeons and Dragons, one's chaotic good, the other's chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, that's how I'd phrase it. Anyway. And then there's the pavilion, the staff pavilion, which is where all the chaos happens. In our staff meetings before we march out to colors and picnic tables and electricity and overflowing trash cans always happen there. But so that's the staff area, but that's not the end of the discussion. We're living there. Most people, average staff members, living there for 9 weeks. When I'm there, I'm in the staff area for 10, maybe 11. Depends on when I move in during A team. How do we go about making it home? Making it something beyond just a tent, beyond the whole hacks inside the tent itself.
Like Anthony said, it's a lot of, building these small communities between tents, getting a massive 20-foot tarp and putting it over 4 tents so you make a small community, or at the back where Larkin Acres is, or Noodlehood, putting tables and platforms in there so you have a common area sort of to relax. And it's about finding the right neighbors, kind of, finding a good group of neighbors that you can hang out with and just sort of chill and de-stress. Because we do get to choose which tents we have to a margin of success. Because first come, first serve, and CITs have a designated tent area. But besides that, it's mostly first come, first serve. You get the tent you choose, and if you can come up with a good group, it's gonna make it a lot better.
Yeah, and for some people who maybe de-stress in a different way, I generally bring a small desk and a lamp to do either some work alone in my tent, whether that's some school work if it's necessary, or even just reading and sort of chilling out with a chair just set up to make sort of your own private common area. It can definitely be really relaxing inside the tent as well.
Yeah, certainly. Anthony, you have how you've seen people make it home?
So definitely, I think one of the biggest things, as both Owen and Nick said, is finding the people who make the summer better for you, and making them kind of your neighbors. Building one of those communities with those tarps. That's always usually where all the fun goes down, in one of those communities. Like Nick said, either Larkin Acres or Noodle Hood, or one of the areas that have been made up in just literally the middle of the staff area. And whoever decides to make one, it's up to them. It's not like where like certain designated people do it. Anybody can do it and make it their own. So definitely finding people to be around, good people to be around your tent is probably one of the best things that you can do.
Yeah, all excellent points. So I think it's a good idea of the staff area. It's chaos. You never know what you're going to encounter in there. You could walk down a row of tents and you might see a group of people sitting around a TV playing Super Smash Brothers, and then you might go down another row of tents and it's just, I don't even know
Cards.
what they're
So
doing.
many card games.
Card games, yeah. And then you
Magic, playing cards.
Yeah.
All sorts
Music
of
is
stuff.
another.
So we've set the stage. What kind of, and we've alluded to a couple of activities that go on, but to kind of talk about our leisure time, you can really break it up a lot. I kind of broke it up into 3 parts, and then we can talk about staff parties a little bit because that's been alluded to in others. But there's like general time off, so like your lunch breaks, that weird break between afternoon program and dinner, and then evening time off, like if there's nothing going on. And then there's nights off, and then there's days off. So I think we can tackle each one in order. So time off, general time off, I don't think there's anything too specific to be said about that. But like during a lunch break, what are people going to be doing during then?
Napping. A lot of staff, we all have to wake up decently early to be out and chipper, getting teaching badges or whatever it is we're doing. And especially for a lot of the younger staff, they're not really accustomed to having to wake up early on a regular basis. So a lot of the younger staff take the lunch siesta and between end of program and dinner to take a quick nap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On top of that, for a lot of the senior staff that aren't napping, quite a few years ago at least, most of the staff is generally pretty musically inclined. So if they aren't napping, there's always a group or two of people who are just sitting around, either just playing some music together or listening with music together, just sort of just using it as a time to just chill out and de-stress for sure.
Yeah, I think it's one of the biggest things, especially I think with a lot of the staff. We use it for socialization time because normally during the day we're stuck in our areas. We're stuck with our not to say we're stuck with our campers, but we're stuck with the staff members we have. But we are all around them all the time, and sometimes our friends are in different areas, so we use that time to kind of sit, talk, catch up. How's your day go and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a classic thing you might see is a bunch of like the Smash Brothers example I listed before. A bunch of friends crack open some cold ones, some Coca-Cola, some 50 flavors of Mountain Dew promo that tasted terrible, and just play some video games, whether that's Smash, whether it's Naruto, like some Naruto game. That was a big one with Aiden. Magic, card, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a big thing during the lunch break as well because it's quick, it's easy. You can do some pickup games.
Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go, yeah. People will take hikes down to the entrance of camp because if you don't know, there's a Pokestop and a gym near the falls.
We upgraded to 2 Pokestops last year.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
have reception.
Oh yeah.
There's one.
Reception.
Yeah, there's one for the White House and one for the Scout statue now.
Ooh.
In addition to the gym at the Nav.
I thought the gym was at the Picnic Grove.
Yeah, I think the gym is at the Picnic Grove.
It doesn't.
You can
matter.
pick it up at the
It's like a
Nav.
matter of 50 feet.
Yeah. Other things staff members do, a lot of times the senior staff will, like directors and stuff, will go into UNAMI, our main office, and they'll do some paperwork. Kind of just chill there because it's also giving them time to socialize with some of the older staff. I watched a lot of cartoons during my lunch break with another staff member who will be on another episode. She got me into watching Miraculous Ladybug. That was a fun one. So yeah, it's that de-stressing period. That's the important part. About
a lot of the people who bring laptops or phone will go to the dining hall and just watch a quick YouTube video or something. Just anything to take their mind off of work.
That's not really during lunch though. That's more during the evening.
I've seen it a lot with the CITs. They do it during lunch.
Fair. But we try not to encourage that because it's a lot more visible then.
Yeah.
Moving on. What about the and then the period between afternoon program and dinner's pretty much the same. What about after dinner, the evening period? There's no program, but it's not your night off, so you got to stay in camp, but you don't have anything planned. What kind of goes on then?
So
I think it all really depends. I'm sorry, go ahead, Owen.
Okay, no, go ahead, Anthony.
I think it all really depends. Some people will go out, volunteer in different areas. Say, for example, Tuesdays and Thursday nights, we have our night owl swims. Some people who are friends with the lifeguards may go over and volunteer there for the hour, just kind of helping them make their job a little bit easier. Others just kind of hang out in the staff area, again, socialize with their friends, talk about how the day went. Others, they'll take a nap, get an early night's rest if they had nothing to do that night. It all really depends.
A lot of board games and tabletop games are popular at nights as well. Like, I'm personally a large fan of Dungeons and Dragons, and pretty much every summer I run a game or two for a group of staff. And that's usually at night.
Yeah, and you were going to say something and then kind of got away.
No, that's fine. So generally, for me at least, that period is still technically work time because, the life of a health officer never sleeps. So generally what I would actually do is, actually a couple of years ago I did this. I don't know if Lawrence has been on here or if he is going to be on here. Him and I used to sit down in the downtimes and like watch some movies that we've always wanted to watch, like on the laptop or something. I'd bring one up every couple of weeks, and it would be sort of just a little reprieve, even though I'm still technically on duty, but it's not very busy.
Yeah. So it's kind of a lot more. That's when we can do a lot more of the long form stuff. So the next part of the leisure time we want to talk about is our nights off. So as contracted, we are given one night out of the week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we pick one of those. For your CIT, you get Monday. Sorry about that, but you get Monday. And then at 5 o'clock until it's, I think, 11 for anyone under 18, midnight for anyone in that 18 to 21 period. And then if you're 21 or older, you just have to be back by morning colors the next day.
Yeah, you're correct.
And in that, we can either stay on reservation or we are free to go into the town of East Stroudsburg and have fun that way. We offer vans for the staff that do not have vehicles. But yeah, it's a pretty simple thing, but what I want to try and do with this section is, what are the things you all like doing on your nights off? Like, what are some of the highlights you've had?
Definitely for me, nights off. Again, you get out of camp at like 5 o'clock. People actually will take it as like a night out on the town. Like they'll dress nicer. They'll go out. Usually there's three big things that people hit. They'll normally four. They'll go to Wawa to get money. They'll go to dinner somewhere. They'll go to Walmart, and then sometimes maybe they'll get ice cream or they'll just come back to camp. I think definitely one of my biggest things was going to Walmart was one of the biggest things, because whenever you're at camp, you always seem to be running out of something or misplacing something. You need to go pick it up somewhere. So going to Walmart was really just one of those quick times. It's also a time just to kind of laugh and really kind of be, when you are kind of out of earshot of campers, you do let your guard down a little bit. And Walmart's kind of one of those places where you just got to interact without anybody watching you, just kind of being with yourself with your friends. So definitely Walmart would be my kind of night out highlight.
Yeah. Well, Walmart and Wawa are the go-to. Every night off either starts or ends in one of those two locations.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, if you've got a generous van driver, because we do have over 21-year-olds to drive the vans for the under 21-year-olds out to town. If you have a generous van driver, you can even go a little crazier. Like I know last year there was a night out van that went to Cabela's, which is a pretty far drive. And 1 year, it was I forget what year it was, but it was when Ray was the program director. He took us on a van to Knoebels.
Oh, that was 16, I want to say, because Jiffy and Nate were still here.
Yeah,
Ray was program director 16.
CIT.
Yeah.
The key with those though is the Knoebels thing. We did that on Thursday night off, which is typically the smaller of the three.
Mhm.
So everyone on that night off fit into the van.
Yep.
So we were able to do that just fine and easily, and there's no conflict. If that was a night off where the van's doing multiple runs, that's not doable in any capacity.
Yeah, it has to do with how many vans are going out and are needed.
Yeah.
But if you are lucky and have a smaller night, sometimes you can go out and go to a greater range of locations than just East Stroudsburg, Middle Smithfield.
Yeah. Oh, and do you have any highlights, wild, crazy stories of nights off?
Oh boy. Well, after 2017, when I made the mistake of getting Wednesday night off and barely being able to get out, I did manage to land a Thursday night off, which, like you said, is one of the smaller nights off. And generally, a group of friends and I would always sort of cruise down Main Street, collect whatever we really wanted to. There was always a really nice restaurant here or there. Generally in East Stroudsburg, it's not too expensive, so it's relatively relatively leisurely. It's something that as a staff member we can go out and do without really having to worry too much. But Main Street just has, and always has had, just a bunch of just a huge number of stores that we've all been really excited to go to, especially like the comic shops, and there's an old mom and pop chocolate and soda shop there, and all kinds of fun stuff.
The bookstore is a favorite of mine. There's this really small bookstore. It's like outside of your standard Barnes and Noble. They stock a lot of older books and books you don't see in your mainstream bookstores. It's so good.
Yeah, shout out Carol and Carol's and Gamer's Edge, which is the comic shop.
Gamer's Edge is the best.
Yeah, for those unaware, East Stroudsburg is actually a college town. It's home of East Stroudsburg University, so you get a lot of that. Like there's a ton of restaurants that you can go to and a ton of stores. But yeah, I was the van driver for Thursday last summer, so I actually got to drive Owen around a little bit. One of my favorite things was when we'd pretty much always end up going to the game store every week, and after a certain point, they start to recognize you, and they know because like I'd go in because I was playing for anyone who plays Magic. I was putting together a cube that summer, which is like a set of cards you can draft from continuously. So I was going in, I was spending probably about 20 or 30 bucks a week buying up singles they had that I needed. And yeah, so they knew me. They were like, it's Andy. How's it going? And I'm like, oh, this is a bad sign. I haven't played many events.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and just when there are a number of staff members who do bring their cars up to camp, so not everybody is beholden to the rules of the van, and a lot of the senior staff, the older staff, can sort of do their own thing. There's like the night out vans kind of have the beaten path that Anthony brought up of like Wawa, Walmart, the mall, Main Street, and dinner. And a lot of the senior staff who bring their own cars sort of just do their own thing. They can go wherever they want. They're not beholden to the van.
Yeah, so it's a fun one. And then kind of expanding off this, it's very similar. Is our day off. So Saturday, from when the last troop leaves, which can be anywhere from like 9 to 11, to 11 o'clock Sunday, we are off. We are free. And in that time period, there are usually 2 to 3 over 21-year-old staff members that are in charge, officers of the day. But beyond that, we pretty much have the run of the reservation. We can fill out trip plans and go swimming. We can, there'll be vans going out regularly. We've shown movies in the arena, which is always a big hit. Open the pool, open the ranges, have fun, games, sports, anything like that. Anything I'm kind of missing with days off or?
Yeah, not really. It's a lot beholden to what directors and different people in positions of power are willing to open up for the weekend. So like you mentioned the pool, you need to have either the aquatics directors or the pool director there. But if they're willing, yeah, they'll open it up for an afternoon, hour or two. Yeah. And I mean the van's running out now that there's more time, they go on a lot of those longer trips. Like I know I've seen vans go to the Jersey Shore before, to various attractions across the Poconos. I think one went down to Philly one time. The radius of what people can do is larger during the weekends.
It's also smaller because since instead of being 1/3 of the staff, it's the entire staff and might only be one driver, they need to make sure that everyone has a chance to get out. But does anyone have any similar vein to the night off stories, have like a highlight, something that they really like to do on a day off?
ATVing last summer, Anthony?
Absolutely. So last summer, Nick and I went ATVing throughout the reservation. We went over onto the Firestone side. And I'd never seen a lot of the Firestone side before that trip. So that was awesome. But there's just a bunch of stuff. Sometimes staff members will go on trips to Cool Dip, Fossil Rock. For example, every year we try and do a trip for just staff to Cool Dip. So we go, we'll sometimes hike, take a van over. We'll go swimming for an afternoon. We'll make our way down to Little Falls. We'll swim around in there. You can't. Usually for a lot of people, I know, especially for me, my days off are more relaxed, kind of laid back. Nights off are really kind of jam packed. Got to get here, got to get there. For days off, it was more pretty much just like trying to catch up on like wash, some paperwork, maybe getting a nap in, then getting to Walmart, go out for dinner, stuff like that. Nothing like it wasn't crazy. At least for me, it wasn't. But other people, they go crazy and go places.
Yeah. Owen, do you have anything?
I don't really know. I mean, generally, I was one of the several staff members that used their day off as a time to sort of de-stress and head home, sort of because you're up there for 9 weeks. Generally, you don't see or talk to your family too much, considering how hectic it can be. So I was more one of the small amount of staff members that generally went home, sort of just to reconnect with your family and loved ones. So
Yeah.
And weekends is the ideal time for 2 a.m. laundry because you don't have to be up at 6:30, 7 the next morning. So do some 2 a.m. laundry, hit the sack, wake up at a solid 9:30, 10 o'clock was the life.
Yes. That's also another big thing. Sleeping in on Sunday morning is fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, and the one last thing about leisure time off to kind of like focus on, just give a little bit of time on, a little taste, because we'll probably do an entire episode on this at some future date, is staff parties. So does someone want to explain what a staff party is?
Oh, where to begin?
Go ahead. So I would definitely describe a staff party as just definitely kind of like a huge time for us to relax all at one time, de-stress, and kind of work out maybe a lot of the frustrations that we kind of got to deal with during the week. Personally, one of the best staff party, at least in my opinion, is dodgeball, where we all kind of get to work off a lot of our frustrations, and just kind of go crazy for a couple hours at night. Get some food, like some fried food. Usually was pretty popular. Fried Oreos, chicken wings, stuff like that. But definitely just a way for us to distress and just have some fun, just as a staff ourselves.
Yeah, it's a fun thing. Nick and Owen, do you have picks for favorite staff parties?
boy, I'm gonna be honest, and this isn't because Andy's in charge here and the host, but definitely the medieval themed staff party was definitely the best. Not only was it, as you probably guessed, quite a few of our staff members are definitely giant geeks, and I am surely
Excuse
one
me,
of
I'm
those.
a nerd.
Okay, all right.
I'm both.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it was a lot of fun to just chill out, sort of live sort of the nerd dream in these kinds of scenarios, and at the same time it also let us de-stress with things such as jousting and gladiatorial combat. Oh boy.
And
Yeah.
for me, it's definitely because I was co-running it, Ren Fair Medieval Times.
Yeah.
Honestly, I had so much fun with that one. Besides that one, Dodgeball's always a fan favorite. Dodgeball's so much fun. And I mean, I've won it 2 years in a row now, so.
I've come this close.
Close, but so far.
With the Ren Fair, a little bit of behind the scenes into that. I originally wanted to get like the turkey legs, like chicken legs for that. But then I got talked down into chicken wings, which is still good, still acceptable, but not as much fun. So yeah, staff party, definitely an episode we'll have to go into all by itself at some future date. But I just want to touch on something a little bit about staff life, because this is where we kind of get away from the free time more into general topics about it, is when you've been here for a while, I'm sure everyone else can add to this, but when you've been here for a while, 9 years, you kind of start to lose a lot of like your friends. Like your friends move on to greener pastures, they stop coming back, and so on and so forth. That's something I've experienced. I'm sure the three of you have as well.
Oh yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
certainly something that really hurts because it's like they're your close friends and you're not going to be seeing them as much. You're not going to be living with them. But this also kind of opens it up to you start hanging out with new people, like Steve Mock, our assistant camp director. I never really interacted with until I moved into admin, been here a lot longer, and like my friends started leaving. I don't know if you all have experiences with this you want to share,
yeah.
but
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
I definitely agree that Steve Mock is the go-to friend for when as you move up, you just slowly start spending
yeah.
more and more time with Steve. But yeah, I mean, this is my 7th summer, and I'm at the point where the only 2 people that from my original like CIT friend group are Colin and Luke Zayak. Everyone else has moved out, and it's like it's almost disconcerting because you're like, wow, has it really been that long that people are starting to drop out? 'Cause at least,
for
go
sure.
ahead. Or at least for me, it's I feel like I've barely spent any time at camp. Like time goes so fast. I feel like, I don't know, despite the fact I've been here for 7 summers, it still feels fresh and like I'm coming back to my first summer. But for a lot of people, it starts to wear on you because it is a stressful job, and it really opens your eyes to like, wow, I actually have been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. I can definitely speak to that, especially for both me and Owen. We're both veterans of the 2016 year.
Oh yeah.
And we're actually, now that I think about it, we're one of the last 2 people who are still around from 2016. Everybody else has kind of moved on, hasn't come back at this point. This is both of our 5th summers. But kind of to go off of both what Nick and Andy said with Steve Mock. With Steve, I never really interacted with him.
oh no, I have frozen. This is most unfortunate. Will it come back?
Oh, he's back.
Aha, I'm back. Hello,
Hi, Andy.
Banana. It was anarchy without me, wasn't it?
It was.
No,
Everything fell
it
apart.
wasn't.
I became
I
the
took
host.
over. I led.
All right, yeah. Sorry about that. We're back now. I said the secret passcode, so they won't kick me anymore. But yeah, where are we? I don't remember. Anyway, right. It's the friends leaving.
Owen,
Yeah, it was
finished
Owen's
my
talking
point.
about
Yeah.
Yeah, go.
For sure, especially for me. I mean, I was the 2016 CIT class, which was relatively small to begin with. I think it was maybe 10, 12 people at the most. But at the same time, within about 3 years, it was just me and Tyson, I think, and then Tyson didn't come back again. And so within 3-4 years, I was basically the only one left out of my CIT class. And because we were relatively small, we became relatively close-knit. But once that was on, I was sort of like, where do I go now? But because of who my CIT coordinators were, Pat and Jacob Huff, I really got to get into that sort of crowd. And so soon I became friends with Pat and Jacob, and then I eventually got to meet some of the older staff. Considering I'm only just now becoming a director, I'm not super tight with Steve like you guys are, but I am starting to become pretty tight with him, so that's really interesting. And I think the most interesting part that really kept me going once I realized I was going to be the last one left was when a large part of the admin team in 2018 invited me out to go to the hibachi dinner with them. And I got real close with like Melissa and Pat and Steven. I got to learn more about Chris and Ranger Nick and all that. So that was a lot of fun. And I mean, if it weren't for me seeking out new friends, I wouldn't have really gotten too close with Anthony and Nicholas. So I don't know why I called you
Yeah, that's
Nicholas. I should
weird.
have just said
Stick
Nick.
to Nick Owen.
Whoops.
It's because I made this
Sticky
mistake
true.
too in the introduction. Nick, you tagged in Zoom as Nicholas Koft.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because that's what my email handle is, and it helps
Yeah.
for the kids to keep track of me.
that's fair. But yeah. So in a similar vein to 2016, like my first year is 2012, and there's no one that was a first year in 2012 left. It's only me. I constantly joke that I outlived them all, but it's only half joking. So then, moving on, our last topic for this episode is a bit more of a serious one. It's the principal on
I
camp staff that we call.
did.
Did
Oh no. Oh,
I miss something up?
You cut out.
Oh,
yeah, you just kind of stop making noise.
it's am I
What
good
principle
now?
is it again?
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah.
Good.
Mhm.
Yes,
Cool.
we can hear you.
All right, so our last topic of the episode is a bit more of a serious one. It's a principle we have on camp staff called one staff, one family. And what are people's impressions, takeaways, knowledge about this topic? Oh
I
no,
mean, it's kind of like, I mean, yeah, it's like reality. It is very much, we're all living together for 8, 9, 10, some of us up to 14 weeks with A team, and we do end knowing each other very well, and it gets to a point where we kind of are a family, where we just all know each other, interact with each other, and positively and negatively, where we just are our own unit.
um,
Yeah, I was gonna say there are always arguments every once in a while, but as a family, we always come back together in the end. So
Definitely, I would agree with that as well. I know, especially for me, I think a lot. I thought about the subject when I found out this was going to be included. And I think really for me, when I growing up, I was an only child. I had no brothers that I now have consider friends for the rest of my life. You know, what I mean, for me, one staff, one family, it means that like this group of 100 people all come together and they really blend and they accomplish something amazing. I mean, we lived together for 4 months, and sometimes disagreements happen, as Owen said. But it's at the end of the day, it's the people who are laughing with you on your happiest days and then refusing to leave your side on your worst days. That's what that really means to me. I know a lot of the people that I've made through staff have really been there for me anytime I needed them. It was sometimes not even realizing that they're doing anything. They're doing everything they can.
the longer you're on camp staff, the more often you get the kind of, wow, what's made you do it for so long? Especially at 9, at 7, at 5, at 6. And, part of me always kind of gives that joking answer of like, oh, well, I'm a teacher. I'm going to school for education. It kind of comes with the territory. Needs something to do with the summers off anyway. That's, I mean, it's certainly true. But the other part is the staff, the family you make. Like, even though every year I go back, there's less and less familiar faces. It's still the spirit of the camp staff is something that remains constant. And that's kind of what brings me back constantly.
Mm-hmm.
sure.
It very much is there's, you always feel welcome at camp, regardless of whether it's your first summer or your 5th or your 10th. There's always at least somebody there who remembers you or cares about. For me, I'm not the most social person, and I've never been great at making friends at school or anything. And coming to camp for me was very much like the only place where I truly felt accepted as part of the friend group.
It's kind of, I think that's a good place to wrap things up. Does anyone have any closing comments about the topic, about camp in general?
Good
If-
place.
Yeah.
Really is. It's home.
Mhm.
Yeah, it very much is our second home.
Yeah.
I mean, I know especially kind of when we were talking about nights out and days off and that kind of stuff. But usually when we're out and we're like kind of done with the day, or like, and we're like, say we're out at Walmart and we're at the end of our trip, people always say, "All right, let's go home." Like it's not like, "All right, let's go back to camp." It's let's
Mhm.
go home. Like you expect that place to be your home when you go back to it.
We're always counting the days to our next day off, but we're never counting the minutes for how much longer we have until we have to go back.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
It's good.
I count the
but-
days down every year and can't wait to do it again until next summer.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, thank you all so very much for listening to this episode of Big Springs Life podcast. It means a lot to us. Unfortunately, at this point, closing comments. You missed the boat on signing up for virtual camp for the 2020 season. Our deadline was actually, I think, the day of recording, the 23rd.
I think there's like 4 hours left in the deadline as of recording.
Oh yeah, this goes up
Mhm.
Monday. But you know, I think signups are starting up soon for 2021. You can reserve your spot for then. Hopefully, knock on wood, we'll all be here in person in the falls. Not in the falls, after falls. You can also sign up when it goes live, usually end of the summer, early fall. If you're interested, join our camp staff. Become a member of the family. We're always looking for new, excited people to join our family.
Yep,
I know that
and-
sounds kind of culty, but like, you deal with it.
I mean, the camp staff application is already up, so
Oh, it is up?
That's true.
Oh, wow.
might as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Anybody who's
on
interested, ask your counselors.
rescafalls.com/join-camp-f. Shameless plug.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, if you're interested, certainly give it a sign up. If you're in virtual camp, talk to your counselor about it. Ask us in person. We're more than willing to geek out about our camp staff experience. But regardless, anyway, thanks again for listening. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube shenanigans, and we'll see you
bell.
next week.
Is the 1 million subscriber goal still a thing, Andy?
Yeah, if we get 1 million subscribers, we're still getting the forbidden episode, but I don't think we're gonna get there anytime soon.
1 million subs. We can do it, guys.
Yep. Smack that like button. Hit the bell.
Hit the bell for future videos.
Yeah.
All right. See y'all. Thanks for listening.
2, 3. Oh, I don't want no more of Big Springs Life. Hey, G-Mom, I want to go, but they won't let me go. G-Mom, I want to go home.
Oh, the ego stuff like this. They say we're pretty fly, but we can't find a single tree that we even identify.
Oh, I don't want no more of Big Springs Life. Hey, G-Mom, I want to go, but they won't let me go. G-Mom, I want to go home.
Well, it's
But they won't let me go. G-Mom, I wanna